Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Big Apple Banter. What's up, Frank? How you doing this week?
I'm doing okay. I just had a tough loss last night, but I'll get into that later.
What else is new? Uh, how about this past weekend though?
Dude, yeah, it was hell of a matchup, dude. Brady and Rodgers, dude. I can't even begin with that game. Rodgers, Matt LaFleur, some miscommunication going on at the end of the game. But even though Brady had himself a hell of a first half, Brady's doing vintage Brady things. The first half he's prime, prime Brady. Second half, he's 43-year-old Brady.
Yeah, he looked locked in from the get go, at least in the first half, no doubt. And so did Rodgers. Rodgers, they were going back and forth to start it off, but
Yeah, Rodgers
Brady,
was near perfect to start his game.
yeah, yeah, but then the turnovers ensued. I mean, Rodgers threw that pick, and then right before half, they had that third down play where they just put in. I guess they thought they weren't going to snap the ball. They thought it was going to be a spike or set up a field goal, and they threw a touchdown pass. So that was inconceivable. And I had a feeling that score when that happened was going to come back to bite them.
Yeah, I can't agree more, dude. When teams come back to drive down the field to get a score, and actually right before that, Green Bay failed to score a touchdown. They settled. They had to settle for a field goal
All right,
instead.
and that was off a turnover, right?
Yeah, they scored.
Yeah.
Yeah, they scored off the turnover. But right before that, um, Green Bay, when Aaron Rodgers was heading downfield and they were in the red zone, he tried to hit Devontae Adams like near the field goal post and back in the end zone, and he missed him. He had Lazard wide open in the front, so that's another missed opportunity there. So they had to settle for three. Then as you were just saying, Tampa Bay, they thought they were Tampa Bay comes storming down. The Packers, they thought they were just going to settle and not really do anything crazy, but knowing Brady, he's going to take his shots. He took his shot. They drove down. They scored that touchdown. And yeah, that's a killer. That's always a killer for a team. And those points came back to bite them. Even the difference of four, them not scoring that touchdown and having to settle for a field goal, that difference of 4 points also came back to bite them. One way or another.
Yeah, and I know Brady didn't have the best of numbers. I mean, he had a solid game, but he did what he was supposed to do when his defense gave him the turnovers he needed. He actually put points on the board, unlike Rodgers. When they finally got those turnovers, it went 3 and out, had a couple sacks, and the offensive line broke down time and time again. So I mean that's the difference in the game. I mean, both quarterbacks are great. They're both future Golden Jacket
Yeah,
recipients, but
that's what came down to the difference that Tampa Bay was able to capitalize on the turnovers and Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers, they weren't.
yeah, and that's the difference in the score. I mean,
That was definitely one of the many differences in the game. But I mean, the big talk of that game was obviously Aaron
yeah.
Rodgers and Green Bay in that fourth quarter decision at the end of the game. Like, even on third down, I mean, supposedly there was some miscommunication where Aaron Rodgers didn't know that they were not going to go for it on fourth down and they were going to settle for the field goal. So I guess if Aaron Rodgers knew that, he maybe would have ran that in on third down because on that third down play, he easily could have had a chance to run that ball in. He had a clear lane, open path to run that ball in. I don't know if you saw that, right?
Yeah, I saw that he had a wide open running lane to the right with just the goalpost in his way,
And
but
then
then
he
he tried
tried
to
to
force
throw
a throw
to
into Devontae
yeah
Adams
to Devontae Adams, and
and
then
double coverage.
his first throw was it on that play or I think it was on that play. He tried to throw Devontae Adams to the left of the end zone, and Devontae Adams got twisted around. I think
Yeah, and I think the play after that too, he rolled out and scrambled and then ended up. He looked like he just slung that ball like he was just playing scared at that point, and he overthrew him into the freaking back of the end zone.
yeah, dude, it's just yeah. I mean, Aaron Rodgers couldn't make those big time throws when he needed to at the end of the game. I mean, I was even texting a buddy, and I was like, this is going to be some kind of pressure to get down the field, score a touchdown to get that 2 point conversion. But he had that chance to run that ball in on third down, and he should just take matters into his own hands and ran that ball in. That would have been an easy score. And then you come up with a play to deal with the 2 point conversion.
Right. And hey, that's been the story of Rodgers' career. I mean, he's a great, one of the most talented quarterbacks there is. He's got a great arm talent. But you know what? He's been to one Super Bowl. That's it. I mean, they've had 15-1 seasons, constantly winning that division in the NFC North. But it seems like time and time again he falls up short. I mean, this is 4 NFC Championship games in a row that he lost.
Yeah,
And
and
then
including back-to-back ones.
yeah, no kidding. But where's the logic in Matt LaFleur deciding to kick in that field goal on 4th and goal? I just don't see the logic
Yeah,
in
I
it.
mean, they're coming with all the percentages and all the analytics within it and everything. But you know what? So you got to say screw the analytics. You have Aaron Rodgers as your goddamn quarterback.
Seriously.
Like, what are you doing? You lost the game anyway, so why not just take the risk now? He was looking ahead and settling for the field goal and then trying to win the game if they stopped him. I mean, don't get me wrong. Their defense they held Tampa Bay in the second half, so they were hot. They were holding them, but you can't knock Tom Brady out. When it matters, Tom Brady gets it done. He makes sure to get those first downs and extend the plays to make sure to finish off the game. Like we've seen that from him in the past. So
Yeah.
you got to, I mean, LaFleur, he should have took his chance. He should have had his chance with Aaron Rodgers when they were already down there instead of because either then you get the ball back, you still have to drive down the field to get the touchdown. You
Exactly.
know, you guys
I
want to
mean,
try it then, uh, if he's worried about like making the wrong call, obviously he made it, but he should have just made that call and not worrying about if that would have been the wrong call.
yeah, because if you go back at the end of the third quarter, after the Packers scored a touchdown after a turnover by one of the Brady interceptions, they go for 2. I mean, it lightly gets he's on the scramble, lightly gets tipped by Sue, but then it still goes right into the receiver's chest and he drops it. So then they missed that opportunity there.
Yeah, it's another one, dude. Yeah, there were just countless drops from Devontae Adams and all the other wide receivers all around. Lazard, Van de Scanting, just I mean, again, it is a team effort. It is a team sport. So Aaron Rodgers, he did do his part sometimes with some throws. Some things were a little unlucky, and some poor coaching decisions. But
Yeah,
hey,
it
it's
seemed like almost a fireable offense, in my opinion.
yeah. I mean, who knows? And obviously a lot of people are, have been talking about Aaron Rodgers' future in Green Bay. Maybe he's on the move, maybe not. So who knows? There could be some traction there. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think he'd want to leave Green Bay. Like if he went anywhere else, like I don't think he'd have a greater chance to win anywhere else. But I mean, his division it really isn't that great. He already has continuity with that team.
Not
So
only that, if you look at it fiscally, he's under contract to the end of the 23 season. And the amount of dead cap money that would be on the Packers payroll if he was to be traded would be detrimental. I think it's almost $50 million.
I heard that.
So,
Yeah, I think it was like
so
close to 60 or something.
yeah, I think it had more to do with, emotions are high. He's thinking like, we just had a great season. I just had one of my best statistical seasons of my career. And yet we fell short again of the big game. So he's probably thinking, oh, I got to go through all the freaking preseason and regular season
Yeah,
games
it's
again and all
definitely
that.
strenuous. They go through a lot. It's definitely strenuous. But if you're the front office of Green Bay, you saw what Aaron Rodgers just gave you. You got to put some more weapons around him. Obviously, you have Devontae Adams. He's making other guys around him a lot better, like Vandal Scanting, Lazard. But if you get playmakers, like big time playmakers, like an OBJ or somebody along those lines with those talents, you got to give. It would just increase the skill set of everybody around the team. It'll be more
Yeah,
beneficial.
that's what was so head scratching. I mean, if you go back to the last draft, they drafted Jordan Love, a quarterback, in the first round instead of giving Rodgers more weapons, like you said, one game away from the Super Bowl.
And we've seen this before. Aaron Rodgers. It's ultimately Aaron Rodgers was in the same position as Jordan Love. He was taken to be the successor of Brett Favre. Aaron Rodgers was.
Yeah.
Ultimately, they was kind of the same way. I mean, Brett Favre was no Aaron Rodgers. Both done the same thing. Ultimately, won Super Bowl, but
Yeah, I mean, Rodgers is a whole another threshold of a better quarterback than Brett Favre ever was.
absolutely.
So I don't. I
Yeah, I
really
mean, there's
puzzling.
gonna be countless. We're gonna go back to countless things with that game. And if I'm a Packers fan, I'm furious because there were just so many moments, so many different decisions that could have, what ifs, shoulda, woulda, couldas. And it's just, yeah, if you're Aaron Rodgers, you got to be super heartbroken. As you said, just you have all season, you work up all season, you go through all this stress and all this work, and you just come up short yet again. It's
Well,
tough.
hey, that's their problem now. They gotta have that on their mind all off season long. So
Yeah, I mean, when you have
you
the
know,
talents of an Aaron Rodgers, you would think you would have more than one Super Bowl.
no. But hey, once again, I mean, we know we've seen it. Basically our entire lives. Once again, Tom Brady's going to the Super Bowl. Seems like every
Yeah,
other year.
yeah, man, it's unbelievable. But before we even dial more in back to that, let's dial into that AFC Championship game.
Yeah, now this one wasn't as heightened as the other ones, just because this was more of a young gun than the old guard as the other quarterback matchup. But even going so, I mean, Josh Allen had a great year. He's 24 years old, going against 25-year-old Mahomes, who just came off a Super Bowl and an MVP.
Mahomes coming into this game, we had some uncertainty because of his concussion and turf toe. So there was a lot
Yeah,
of speculation on whether he'd be at the top of his game or not. But he showed he was no match. The Bills are no match for him.
yeah. The Bills came out. I think they got to a 10-point lead, maybe early, or at least a touchdown. But you knew that just by going back to last year's postseason with Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, that they can just let some team get up on them big, and they just seem like they're toying with them. It's like, yeah, okay, whatever. We're still gonna run down your throats and beat you up. So,
Dude, it's
I
just
mean,
insane. The talents of Patrick Mahomes are just unreal. Like like Tom Brady, he's something else. But Mahomes, he has Brady's just like intelligence of the game, like reading the defense. He has Brett Favre's gunslinging arm. He has his own size, like Cam Newton's size. Like he's a freak. Like the dude is just
plus he has Andy Reid, so
exactly
that's
having
helps too.
like that. Yeah, somebody second to like Bill Belichick. Like, dude, Mahomes is gonna run the AFC. It's
Yeah,
just
I don't like the sound of that. I mean, it sounds like there's no hope in the near future. This is the Chiefs
I mean, I'm just happy
conference.
he's not on New England. So he's
Yeah,
not
I
going to be
guess.
hated as Tom Brady in New England.
I guess that's a consolation prize. But I mean, him just going to Tyreek Hill over and over again. Tyreek Hill, no one can guard that guy. He's just too quick.
Even Kelsey's just, oh,
Yeah, he's the best tight end in the league, hands down. Might be the best receiver if you want to look at it that way, like Gronk used to be with the Patriots.
dude, what a hell of a season that just the Chiefs had and they received. Tyreek Hill and Kelsey both went over 1,000 yards. Ridiculous seasons. A tight end and a wideout. I think I think that's like first time in history or like the second time. Like it's very rare that's happened.
Yeah, well, to them, it's just another day at the office. So,
I know teams have had like 1,000 yard receivers. I know that's happened, but a tight end and a wide receiver over 1,000 yards, and then it's even rare to have a running back, wide receiver, and tight end over 1,000 yards each. Like that's a crazy combo.
that's how dangerous that offense is, and that's more credit given to Andy Reid, the way he's able to distribute them equally alongside Patrick Mahomes to all his playmakers, and his offensive line blocks for him. I mean, it also helps that he can scramble and he's mobile, but that offense is historically great.
Yeah, I mean, Josh Allen kind of has some of the tools as Mahomes, but yeah, I mean, the tools, yes, but like his intellect and some of the decision
Yeah,
making isn't there.
I mean that's what made Tom Brady so great all these years. It's between the ears.
Yeah, that's what separates
So
the greats from just the guys that can just manage to get the game. You know,
yeah.
whole thing.
So Josh Allen played all right. I mean, they tried late in the game, try to make it a game, but
I mean,
yeah,
you have to look at it like this: the Bills, the Mahomes, and the Chiefs, they weren't really going to stand a chance. So the way I'm going to look at it overall is that just Josh Allen, he took huge steps this year. From year 2 to year 3, he made huge strides, big progressions. So just coming up short to Patrick Mahomes in the AFC Championship game, as a Bills fans, you got to be really, really happy and content where you are right now. They look phenomenal. Josh Allen looks like he's gonna come into a potential MVP in the years to come, and having getting a wideout like Steph Diggs, just goes to show how it could really make that it can make take that quarterback to the next step. It can take him to the next level.
Yeah, but I agree. And the one thing that can make that offense more dynamic, maybe not to the level of Kansas City, but their running game needs to be more formidable. It doesn't seem like they really have one. It seems like Josh Allen's scrambling constantly. Their running back, I don't even know who their feature back is. I mean, it's kind of like a committee back there in the backfield. So maybe that dynamic will help them going forward. But their future is definitely bright. I mean, they got a great head coach with Sean McDermott.
Absolutely. And their defense was great, but they just weren't up for the match. They weren't ready for the matchup.
No.
They weren't prepared for Mahomes.
No. And most teams aren't, as you've seen over his first 3 seasons.
It's really hard to game plan against him. It really is. He's just he makes decisions that not many people do. And the only other people that I classify him with, as we just already mentioned, is Brady. And I cannot wait to see this matchup. And yet again, as we said, we find Tom Brady in the Super Bowl in his first year with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers without a preseason. And he got so much criticism for practicing at high school fields with his players because of the whole COVID situation, because he was trying to get acclimated to the new system with the coaching and everything. So I think we could kind of put that Brady and Bill Belichick debate we could kind of squash that now. I was always adamant on that Brady didn't really need Bill. But I mean, at the same time, don't get me wrong, Bill's a great play caller. He's put together great coaching staffs. He's held together a great locker room. He's brought in other players, other talents to surround Tom Brady. And whether they were great players or just subpar players, they've all supplemented each other one way or another. But at the end of the day, Brady was executing those plays. He's made so many plays where he's had to drive down last minute. I mean, we've even seen it with Tampa. What we saw with him at the end of the first half with Tampa Bay, we've seen him do it numerous times with the Patriots. It's just as great as Bill is. It's Brady. I think it's just Brady.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I mean, it's a small sample size. It's one season. I mean, it's hard to judge it, but he is 43 years old. And if you look at the Patriots season, they were a middle of the road team even with the talented quarterback in Cam Newton. I mean, so I mean, I for years I always thought he was a system quarterback, mainly because I'm probably a hater as being a Jet fan. I mean, I've always thought like it's all Belichick, and it's all because Belichick left the Jets 20 plus years ago. But I mean, having said that, Tom Brady, the fact that he had no preseason, he was in a new environment, new coach, new playmakers, offensive line, a whole transition, and then he goes on the road for 3 games in the postseason and wins all of them and gets to the Super Bowl. So I don't know how much more you could say about this guy. I mean, I guess I finally have to call him the GOAT, even though I don't want to.
Takes down Drew Brees.
Yeah, I can't believe Aaron Rodgers is nothing more. I mean, people would try to say, Aaron Rodgers is actually the GOAT because he's just a superior athlete to Tom Brady.
I mean, his talents are better. His talents are better than Tom Brady, but his resume isn't.
No, and that's the problem. That's the problem with
That's
Aaron.
What matters. The bling. It's all about the bling.
Yeah, I know. And Tom Brady likes to show off his multiple rings on both hands, but
he could possibly be adding another one. And if he really wins this one, then I guess we could even. I mean, getting there is one way to squash this debate, but even winning it, I guess, kind of even puts more ammunition to that.
I mean, that was the guy's 14th championship game, and now his 10th Super Bowl appearance. And he has 6 of them already.
21 years, right?
20 years. 21 years. So if you look at that, 50% of his career, he's in the Super Bowl.
In 21 years, it's just under. It was like 48%. I saw the statistic.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, and even he's been in 10 Super Bowls out of like how many? Like what are we at? 50 something? Like almost like 58? What are we at?
I think this is 56.
56
or 55.
So,
yeah, something like that.
A decent percentage of those. Like, 10 out of 50. You know, he's already been in like 10% of the Super Bowls almost, or whatever that is.
Yeah, him alone has been the most Super Bowls than obviously any team.
It's ridiculous.
I mean,
his resume is
he's on par with the Patriots, but yeah, there's nothing more you can really say about the guy. I mean, he's a winner, unfortunately. I mean, but I honestly, between you and I was rooting for him. I don't know
can't
why.
believe that. And I can't believe that.
I think because I want Belichick to look like a fool, like he was just, a pawn and he had no influence on the success of that team. I think that's why is my motivation behind it.
And that's part of this debate, and I guess you and I both fall on that, it was kind of more Brady than Bill. And, you know, let's say he didn't have, Brady during all those years, who knows? He probably doesn't win the five with Brady or the six.
No, probably not. I mean, if you look at those Super Bowls,
and depending, obviously, the quarterback they have, maybe he wins one along the lines. But I mean, obviously, they both complemented each other. I'm not going to deny that. But when it mattered, Brady executed the plays. He made the throws. He's brought his team back from. He's made comebacks. Don't get me wrong. Games have gotten handed to him, like the Seahawks Super Bowl. Even the Falcons laying down and not wanting to prepare in the second half and just, so don't get me wrong. Great, Brady is great, but there's been some times where things have been handed to him.
Yeah, you even look at this past game. I mean, there was calls that they were only calling, that call that gave the Buccaneers the first down at the end of the game that basically clinched the game. He held him clearly. They called pass interference. It was the right call. But there was other calls earlier in the game where the refs would let him play. I mean, overall, I like when the refs let him play, but some of them were blatantly obvious and they made a difference in the game.
Yeah, they should have made some calls, and then even to call that one at the end of the game to really solidify it. And then there was even a holding call that I didn't even realize, but Tristan Wirfs was holding one of the defensive end that blew by him, and so that could have been like offsetting penalties, and maybe the Packers could have had a chance to march down the field again. But again, LaFleur could have just made the decision earlier in the game to just go for it on fourth down, or instead of that, they also should have had some communication between the quarterback and himself. Like, there's just so many what ifs, shoulda, woulda, couldas, and ultimately that's what's cost them the game. If they were,
I was shocked to not see Rodgers and LaFleur kind of get into a confrontation on the sideline. He kind of just accepted it and moved on.
Yeah, we probably in the past, Rodgers and a lot of people, have said this. He would have confronted the head coach McCarthy, and he would have took matters into his own hands. But I guess he trusted his head coach, or he just didn't feel. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't think LaFleur is his guy. I really don't think he's his guy. I mean, I think that he was given to him as a change out of McCarthy. But I don't think it's Aaron Rodgers' guy. Like, it's his best friend being his coach.
Yeah, you don't think he was sold on LaFleur when he was brought in?
No, I don't. And I think he kind of just accepted it because he's like, I'm going to give him a chance. He's a young, up-and-coming offensive mind, unlike Adam Gase.
But hey, I mean, you still can't deny they've had success. Unless you're going to look at this as like a Bill Brady thing, but these teams can't get it done. They can get to the championship game, but they just can't get past that.
I don't know what else to say. I mean, the guy, how does he improve? I mean, he said they talk about him possibly leaving Green Bay, but where's he going to go? He's going to go to the 49ers, his childhood team. How are they a better team? They literally won the division hands down this year. And what was their record? 13-3?
The Packers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how much better can you possibly do?
That's what I'm saying. They've had two successful years. They've gone to back-to-back championship games, but they just came up short both years. So, and just think they came up short last year. So you would think the front office was like, hey, let's surround this guy with more weapons. But no, as you said, they go out
draft Jordan Love. Yeah.
So it's just so many puzzling moves, so many puzzling decisions. But hey, that's where they are, and that's why Aaron Rodgers sadly only has one
sitting home. So, So we'll get more into that next week. But this matchup between the young goat, the baby goat, and the old goat going at each other should be
Yeah, I can't wait to get into that next week. But
absolutely.
let's towel off for a little bit, and we'll come back in a few.